Good morning, Kings! Today we're meditating through Psalm 119, verse 27. Make me understand the way of your precepts, and I will meditate on your wondrous works. In the previous verse, the psalmist lays out his ways before the Lord in confession and asks God to teach him his statutes. Now he's progressing, not just seeking to understand the commands, but the wisdom behind those commands, and then ultimately meditate on God's wondrous works. When Jesus was teaching in the Sermon on the Mount, he actually taught both the rules, but also he imparted the wisdom behind them. Repeatedly, he says, "You have heard it said, blank, but I say to you, blank." He's not rewriting the law. He's revealing its heart. An example of this is when he speaks about anger. "You have heard it said of old, you shall not murder, and those who murder shall be liable to judgment. But I say to you, anyone who is even angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother is liable to the council, and whoever says, 'You fool,' shall be liable to the fire of hell." The rule here is do not murder, but the point is don't remain angry with people. Same thing a little bit later on, he talks about adultery. You've heard it said you shall not commit adultery. But even if you look at another person with lustful intent, you're committing adultery with them in your heart. The rule here is don't commit adultery. The point is keep your way pure. Jesus is unpacking the way of his precepts, showing that the law was always meant to reshape our innermost lives. Then the psalmist says, "I will meditate on your wondrous works." The word for works is the Hebrew word palaঃ, which means wondrous, and is often used to describe God's powerful acts of deliverance, such as rescuing Israel from Egypt or providing for them in the wilderness. So when the psalmist is seeking to understand the wisdom behind God's precepts, and he's choosing to meditate on his powerful acts of deliverance, he's really taking the time to appreciate just how loving and awesome God really is. For today's reflection questions: how can you approach God's law from the perspective of learning not just rules, but the purpose behind those rules? And what wondrous works of God's deliverance can you meditate on today? Well, that's it for today. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. Have a great day, Kings.